The First Children of Teclis, the Aelven Deepkin, first began as the Cythai, the very first souls recovered by the Elfin pantheon from the imprisoned Slaanesh. The souls of these elves were the people that worshipped Mathlan in the world that was, the dead elfin god of the sea. Their souls were spirited away by Teclis, the god of illumination, to be reborn as Cythai. Teclis had taught the Cythai everything he knew about elfin history from the world that was, and his own arcane secrets. Over time, however, the Cythai began to become resentful of Teclis. A dark shadow loomed over their souls, and the elfin god peered into their spirit. Instead of finding the brilliant life of an elfin soul, he found only darkness draped over them. Being the studious god, he cast arcane spells to figure out the secrets of their souls, only to have the spells drive the Cythai into madness. Fearing a similar fate, and also their total annihilation by Teclis who would discard them, the Cythai fled to where Teclis' light could not reach them, beneath the waves. It was Tyrion, the Blind King and brother to Teclis, who stayed the god of illumination's hand and allowed the Aelven to flee into the sea. In their exile, it wasn't until the Cythai began to have children that they realized that perhaps there was something wrong with their contaminated souls. Barely 1 in 100 of their offspring lived past infancy due to being born with withering souls. This caste of Aelven was known as the Namardi. A race for a cure began, a plight they continue to this very day. As time went on, the Cythai's population began to dwindle, overwhelmed by the cursed Namardi. Only one Cythai still remains, King Volturnos of the Aelven Deepkin. The 1 in 100 true-souled elves born within the Aelven Deepkin use their own arcane knowledge as well as what they've learned from Teclis to try and sustain or even cure this curse. The only method to show some promise was from the Isheron, taking the souls from sea beasts and implanting them within their young. This method managed to sustain them for a few days, but the Namardi needed richer souls if their people were going to survive and buy time for a cure. They needed the soul of a mortal. This is when the Aelven Deepkin came out of their isolation to begin their damned raiding for the salvation of their mortal souls.